Charlotte, North Carolina has a lot of new shiny buildings due to the banking history and burgeoning number of Fortune 500 companies moving to the area. Because of this, historical tapestry gets lost in the fray, leaving history enthusiasts like myself and others with our thirst for local history at a standstill. Fortunately, I've been able to align myself with people who have access to places that allow me to itch to scratch, like Steve Hauser, who provided me with a tour of the enslaved cemetery at Providence Presbyterian Church located here in Mecklenburg County. So cop a seat and watch, and don't forget to subscribe and share. Enjoy.
Tell us what we're about to actually walk into.
Yeah, well, first off, we've just left the area where the European settlers have been buried. Also up to today, because that's a currently used cemetery. Once we went through the gate, we've come down here to this nice, shady, beautiful area, and that is the location of the enslaved people cemetery. And it's been here for a long time. It did not look like this back in the day. In 2004, there was an effort by the church to fix this up and provide the respect that these people deserved. And so what you're seeing is that, and other than that though, the cemetery plots are the same. Nothing's been changed as far as I know. And I was mentioning to you earlier that there's periwinkle all around there too. It's kind of a ground covering. And that was not put in any time recently. And as a matter of fact, periwinkle spreads all over the place. And it's all over this forest now. So we'll go down there and we'll take a closer look.
Yep, let's go.
So when we were doing a lot of the studying, when I was doing it with my students, we would come out of the school and there's the gate right there, and we would come through here and we'd work our way up. If it was related to a novel study or anything else, it would, it might be that the focus is up on the hill there. Well, you can't walk by something like this without everybody wondering what is going on. And so we would stop and we would have a short discussion on what is this, why is it here, and why is that there. And
were any of the immediate face value disparities seen between this one and that one? Was it something automatic that some of the kids questioned, or was it them just kind of waiting on instruction from you?
Oh no, they're curious. Yeah. They're just like everybody. They are curious walking by. They could see the markers here, and they knew something was unique. And of course we have a plaque here. The church put up a plaque, and so we'd stop just for a short time if our focus for study was something else. And so that's what we would do, coming through like that. If we were going to study some aspect of the spring, of course we'd take a left. It might be noticed by that, and we would probably address it too. But not just walk by and say, don't pay attention to this. No, because they were paying attention to it. And, if you think about yourself, you see something, you wonder about it. Well, if somebody can help you understand what it is, why not? Get an understanding and move on. And so that's what we were doing.
So we're seeing that more churches are starting to be assertive in creating these type of memorials for people. There's one here. There's a church down in York County, South Carolina, that has done the same thing, and we're starting to see this to become more common. What are your thoughts on this type of shift in the narrative of cemeteries and inclusivity?
Well, I think it's time. That's the way I look at it. It's time. People know it's time, and so thank goodness it's happening. So it's one thing to say it's time. Next thing is let's have it happen, and so that's what's happening. Preserving the site as it is like this is, I think it's very meaningful, because if we look up closely, and we'll do that in a minute, you'll see there's a stone at almost every one of the burial plots that was put there originally, and it hasn't been moved. These crosses were put there as a marker, and I think it's great to know where these plots are, because you'd have to go and search for them otherwise, because the stones are not sticking up easily. So,
and these crosses represent graves that have been found.
these are not, yeah, these are the graves. That's why they're not in exact line. They may have been at one time, but
sure. And you can see the impressions in the ground.
Yeah, there's some impressions, and
well.
they don't have the markers too. There's some places. So there is one marker over there, and there's some information on that. That person, I believe that person was buried in the 1900s. So it wasn't, this isn't just from that time. Apparently that person had requested to be buried in this cemetery. I don't know that.
Sure. And I'm curious if that may have possibly been the last.
The last one?
Yeah.
Yep. We're looking at the Providence Spring, and this spring has flowed on as long as anybody's ever known. And one thing you can do is look, if you stood where I am and you look out, you'll see the water rippling, which shows that it's in motion right now. If you look at it right now, it looks like it's still, but it's not. And it's constantly flowing. I've been here many, many times in the driest as well as the wettest, and the water is constantly flowing. There's a place where the creek meets the spring water. This is a water race, is one thing they call it, a spring race, where the water comes out and it meets that creek there, and you can see suddenly the water will be flowing down there. So this is originating right here. Now, it didn't look like this originally too, by the way. This was moved probably back in the day that the Europeans came in, and we often wonder, how did they move this? What kind of animal would help to move these rocks for it to land like this? And the purpose would be to keep the spring clean and allow the flow to go, because eventually all the sticks and dirt would cloud it up and cause problems. So this has been here for, I would say, hundreds of years, and I would bet that it has worked, and that's why it's still here. So that's what this is all about. And as I said, the native people came here, they camped in this area, they would get water, then they'd move along the trail, which is now Providence Road. And then when the European settlers came, here they come in, and they also used this water because it was good water. If you think about it, it wasn't that long ago that people could actually, even in Mecklenburg County, reach down and drink water out of a creek. Don't do it. Don't do it now. Most of the creeks now are the runoff from parking lots. That's the way it is. So,
which definitely doesn't sound tasty.
Or safe.
Or safe, right?
Yes.
Well, I can honestly say that I think that what you're doing in teaching these young kids, or what you've done and what you're still doing in teaching these kids about this is an inclusive act right here.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you for taking the liberty and being assertive in doing such, because this will stick with them.
You got it.
These are the type of memories that we create. We know that we have to educate, and they have to learn these and this and that, but life's experiences sometimes, I feel, hold a little bit more weight than anything else.
Oh, you're preaching to the choir there. And that's it, experiential. And that's why I can't march a group of kids up there, even if the topic is something else. It's not this, but I can't march a group up there and ignore the experience that they are having, especially when they aren't sure what it is they're looking at. So, I'm a very strong believer too. I'm a strong believer in that experiential learning, and providing an opportunity for critical thinking. I'm talking about higher level thinking and not just this yes/no type thing, because things are complex, and young people are capable of it too. And that's one thing that I think we're realizing more and more, that young people are capable of thinking and understanding some complex situations that even adults are having some issues with. So, yep.
As you see, the Providence Presbyterian Church location has an eclectic, robust history that has been well preserved and accounted for. I hope if in the area, you will make it a point to visit. In addition to the church enslaved cemetery, the church also has enslaved seating galleries in the sanctuary. Thank you for watching, and make sure to subscribe and share. Peace.